everyone. Welcome to New Dice Please Bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast, brought to you by the people at Bloodbowl Live. My name is Chris. Joining me, as always, for this very special episode, Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, are you excited?
Very, very excited, Christopher.
Fantastic. Also joining me, Mr. Tom Hovell. Tom, are you excited?
Extremely excited, yes.
Wonderful. And joining us, Mr. Tom Feeks. Tom, are you excited?
Oh, you don't want to know how excited I am.
No, I don't like that face.
Nope.
No, I don't like that face one bit. No, that made me feel very uncomfortable. We're all excited, and we're here for a very special episode, a live episode coming to you live on this Monday evening. And I mean, everyone knows why we're coming to you live on this Monday evening. It's because earlier in the day, we all saw the wonderful, much highly anticipated, much longed for news that third season is coming. We have the official announcement from GW that third season is on its way. We know roughly what's in the box. We don't know all of the information. And just to put it out there now, we don't know anything that you, if you've read the article, don't already know yourself. But we're going to go through it and we're going to give you our various opinions and thoughts on what this new box set looks like and what it comes with. And yeah, we're doing this live. If you're listening to this on Spotify, we have uploaded it afterwards. So, you know, we're going to be probably slightly more unhinged and technically bad than normal, and maybe referencing a chat that you just simply can't see. But, you know, that's the cut and thrust of live podcasting.
Just in what Scott Norman has been writing in chat. Feeksy, have you got a DM straight to him? Because good evening, everybody in chat.
I have made it clear before we've gone live that we need to keep it broadcastable. So if I don't read out any comments in the chat, then that's why.
Oh God, I'm just reading it through.
Yeah, let's dive into the box. I think, should we start with the fact that the box announces 2 new teams? That seems like a pretty good place to start with here. We've got, finally, it is confirmed, we've got Tomb Kings, as the rumor said, Tomb Kings and Bretonnians. How are we feeling, guys, about these 2 teams? Because I think, for me, Tomb Kings sound like, based on the description, sound like they're going to be what we knew Tomb Kings of, with one change that I'm quite excited about. And Bretonnians feel like, based on how they've described them, and a friend of mine described it earlier as, it feels like it's a brand new team just with the name Bretonnians, which I think is probably what was needed.
Yeah, it's interesting because you guys may know it more better than I. I know that the Tombkins are a team of legend from a previous season. Have Bretonnians on the board been a team? I know they've been in Blood Bowl 2.
Yeah, they have been,
They
yeah.
have, yeah.
Okay.
They were in the old edition. I'm genuinely curious to see how they're going to differ from nobility.
Well, so was I. I was, but then some of the descriptions. So we can some of the descriptions they've got here. Dauntless Knights they reference a couple of times. 2 night catchers capable players who pair pass and catch with nerves of steel. So there's a bit of difference there. There's no big guy, but there's Dauntless in there and wrestle on the lineman. So we've not got the fend, we've got the wrestle instead. We've maybe got we've got some kind of passing game there. You know, even if you've just got catch and nerves of steel to help you with handoffs, you know, there is something going on there to kind of make them maybe a bit passier. I mean, nobility have catch within their team, you know, and they've got running pass, but I don't kind of see them as much as a passing team.
And also they've got a new skill. So they've got a new skill called...
Yeah, let's talk steady footing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So steady footing, just for clarification, so if you're ever about to be knocked down, steady footing lets the player keep their footing and stay standing on a roll of a 6. So that's kind of that's an interesting one.
So that's making me think that this could be, and we're entirely speculating here, I feel like it could be the bashiest side of humans. Because you've got humans who can do a bit of everything. You've then got nobility that are humans that have, you know, a very control team, but actually they're mainly armor 9s and armor 8s, so they're not, you know, as resistant. I feel like, with maybe some of the kind of armor that the Bretonians are clearly wearing and that they've got, I wonder whether we could see a armor 10 heavy bashy human side, because that to me, a player that can sit there and can throw blocks and can be punched and powed and not go down is screaming bash.
Yeah, I think they are going to be to the human franchise and fraternity what Dark Elves are to the Elvish Kingdom. I think they are going to be 5. I'd be surprised if they're 6. I think the big guys in armor will be 5, and I think that's why they've been given that steady footing, so they do have that 1 in 6 chance of staying up. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be that agile. I think that they are going to be the heavy armor. I don't think they're going to be as nimble as humans or even even imperial nobility. But they are looking, first of all, the sculpts are looking very good. Come on, can any of you not look at one of those squires and just the cowardly lion is coming into your mind? Put him up, put him up, put him up. Oh, that's going to go through my mind every single time I see these things as well. And I probably will say it a lot as well. Sculpts look very, very good indeed. So again, kudos to GW for doing that as well. The knights look very knightish, and there's going to be, from a painting perspective, there's going to be a lot of incredible paint schemes you can do. So basically, all of your Space Marine stuff, all of your Bretonian stuff, all of you.
Anyone else lost Scott?
Lost Scott.
I've
Cool.
got him. I've
No,
got
he's
him.
back. He's back.
Oh, you're
I've
back
had him.
now.
I've had him
Great,
this whole
cool.
time. I'm honoured.
Were you impressed with what I said there, Feeksy? Did that make sense to you?
It was beautiful, and
Thank you.
it's so good. I don't even think you can replicate it.
So just to kind of, you've mentioned there, Scott, a number of things about the skills and kind of their stats. So and taking what Chris has said. So for the humans and the Imperial nobility at the moment, they're averaging a movement of 6. Are we reckoning that these might be a slower form? So maybe the linemen are 5?
My money, Tom, is that their squires will be 6. I think the positionals will be 5. But again, they'll be really difficult to take down. So they'll have my other guess. I think they'll come with something like block. Will they come with something else, or will they just be a generic block? I still think, like Chris, I agree with what Chris said. I think they're going to be armor 10.
I wonder whether they're going to be Edge 4 because they're in armor. So that then leads you on to that the other new skill that they're talking about, which is secure the ball.
Well, we'll come on to secure the ball
thing.
when we talk about the kind of new things that we've been teased. Sculpts, I completely agree with you, Scott. I think they look really, really nice, and I think actually if you look at them and you look at some of the different positionals within there, it looks like anyone with a helmet can have one of the weird toppers that are on top of helmets, and then there's a good selection. So you've got swan on top of a helmet, you've got kind of the weird kind of pointy star, you've got, which someone will tell me some kind of lore that this is based on, you've got the deer, you've got kind of the godhead. So there's lots of there's a few toppers for headpieces that I think could kind of make them quite nice and customizable, which I really like. Some of the teams that they release where you do get a little bit more of that, I think are a bit more appealing because you can kind of make them a bit more unique. So that looks really good. Let's go on to Tomb Kings then. So they've kind of made a point of saying that the Tomb Kings are going to be familiar, that they're going to have the same positionals returning. Skeletons still having thick skull, decay on the big guys still being there. The key change, it sounds like, is Tomb Kings. The Tomb Guardians previously only had regen and decay, didn't have any other skills or traits there, and now come with Brawler. That feels like a bit of a game changer to me, because that was kind of their weakness, a bit like the lizard men with the Saurus. They are, they've got the various stats that make them really appealing, but they don't have any base skills. So you need to get those skills, and you're at risk of the both downs and things like that. And now with Brawler in play, they suddenly feel like an even bigger challenge. On the defensive, a both down is still going to send them down, but on the offensive, which is what they need to maybe get the SPP to get the skills themselves, suddenly they are looking very, very tasty.
Absolutely. I think it's a really nice touch. I've got a few points where I'm maybe not going to be as complimentary to GW because I do have some query points over this whole article, but the addition of Brawler here I think is a very, very nice touch because it's not game breaking, but it just gives them that little bit extra. It makes them comparable to, if not better than, Blorks. I like the fact that they've put in a team of legend back into the box set to rejuvenate the whole thing, but they've recognised that Tomb Kings do have downsides which people are really going to struggle with when you're picking up the game. Because that was my big worry when all of these rumours were leaked. I can't remember the name of the streamer that went around and did it. So
Valrak.
That's it.
Captain
Yes,
Master
thank you.
Valrak. Yeah.
When he was going through it, I was thinking, for a new player picking up two teams that don't look like they're going to play brilliantly, they're just giving them a little bit extra spice.
For people in the chat asking about the Mighty Blow, they didn't come with Mighty Blow before. Mummies obviously had. I think have Mighty Blow. Mummies have Mighty Blow.
Yeah,
I might have got
Mummies
that
do.
clear. But the
no Negatray is bullshit.
Team Guardians didn't. So no Negatrait there. Other than the regen, maybe. It's it's an interesting one. Scott, you're kind of my go-to sculpts guy. So gut feeling on the Tomb King sculpts.
The linemen I think are quite cool. The Guardians, they're okay, but I've seen better sculpts out there for the Guardians. However, that said, if you scroll across on the community website to the ball tokens, the cat, the mummified cat, as it were, with the ball, nice. Come on, and then the fact that they've got is that me or is that Tom Hobbles dropped off there?
Have you got him, Chris?
I don't know.
We've got him.
You're all there for me,
then,
Scott. Oh well, now you've gone, but the rest of you are all there. Well, I think Scott's right. Like some of those ball tokens are looking really tasty.
Nice little touches, GW. Nice little touches.
For anyone who can hear Chris and Scott through that entire thing, I heard that too. It was a complete mess, and I have not got a clue what anyone was saying.
It's fine. I can see on my side what the stream picks up, so I'm hoping the stream understood all that. But I think I think the photos aren't going to actually do Tomb Kings justice because I feel like the photos make them all look kind of similar sizes, whereas I imagine the Tomb Guardians are going to be much bigger. And I think actually when you see them kind of built and on a field, I think they're going to look really cool. But I think it's quite difficult to kind of gauge that immediately now. But that's the two teams. We'll briefly mention it's tucked in at the bottom of the article. Not the announcement of High Elves, but almost an acknowledgement. It's fantastic. This whole article is fantastically worded in a couple of places where there's kind of a acknowledged frustration at kind of, yes, we're finally telling you the details. So the bit at the bottom where they just say, and no, we haven't forgotten about High Elves. There will be a PDF rule available at launch for coaches with the classic teams in their collection, but this will all be updated in due course. So an acknowledgement that High Elves are coming. They're going to release a PDF with the official High Elf rules. So maybe then High Elf sculpts to come in the future. But a third team, that is going to be official and can be used. So, acknowledging that that's what a lot of people do want. Let's talk about Secure the Ball then. So they've acknowledged that with this new rule set that's coming out, that they are not changing any core things about the game. Pitch is staying the same size. A lot of things about the game are going to be very familiar. The general way that you play is going to be very familiar. Terminology is going to be familiar, consistent. They're going to be a bit clearer with who's doing what. Some changes to some other points there. But as far as the new action goes, secure the ball as an action. So how they have described it is works like a blitz or a pass. It's a once per turn action that lets you pick up the ball on a 2+ and then immediately end your turn. You can't take the action if there is a standing opponent within 2 spaces. And some big guys and certain other powerful positionals aren't going to be able to perform that. So that is a big boost to a team like Tomb Kings, who have terrible agility and are not good at picking up the ball. It is a big boost to any team who struggles to pick up the ball or can struggle to pick up the ball. It is a minor drawback to the Edge teams or the Edge 2s who do pick up the ball very easily or can kind of break through. How do we feel about it? I think the fact that it is a once per turn, ends your turn, and that you can still choose to not do that and to just go and pick it up as normal, assuming that is the case, then I'm kind of on board with it. I think it makes some of those punchier teams and lower edge teams maybe a bit more interesting to play. I think it will depend on this caveat as to who can and can't do it.
Yeah, I think the likes of the Chaos Dwarfs, the new Chaos Dwarfs, would be quite fun with the Bull Centaur.
So this is what I'm thinking. Is that this is my kind of concern with it, is it says big guys and then it says some like certain other powerful players. So in my head, obviously, I'm immediately thinking, is a Saurus a certain other powerful player?
I think it'll be strength 3 only, Chris.
See,
That's
this
my
is what
money.
I'm doing.
That's where my money is at the moment. I think it'll be anyone who's strength 3 or below will be able to do that skill. So it automatically gives it'll give that opportunity for your snotlings. It'll give you the opportunity for your gobbers. So you're not having to rely on a 3+, like you do a lot of it. I know everyone else has balanced the skills, but I think it's going to be strength 3 only. And that's my bet.
If that's the case, then that makes a real good play for linemen. So the linemen pick the ball up and start skilling them up in league.
Yeah.
So you get a much more wider spread of skills on your team in a league. Equally, it also means if you've got a lineman who can pick a ball up and it's got movement 6, for example, that's great. All your positionals can then do what they want to do and to start defending. So that might be a new way of play.
Because the way that it is written, and I'm sure it's going to be clear in the rule book and however it's written out. The way it is written is that it lets you gather the ball on a 2+ and then ends your turn. We've got someone in the chat saying that Cyanide is saying it ends the activation and not the team turn. So we've already got a bit of kind of confusion there, which I'm sure that they will clarify which one it is, in good time. For me, if it doesn't end your turn, and basically everybody gets the chance to pick up on a 2, I'm not so sure. I think it could. I wonder whether it will make a skill like Fumble Rooski any more appealing, because if you've got a Edge 3 with sure hands that can pick up and then Fumble Rooski somewhere, and then another Edge 3 that can pick up the ball as a secure the ball. But then if it ends that player's activation, then they're not really going to go anywhere. I don't know. We could easily speculate this into a mess, but I think we need to wait for how the rule is written, don't we?
Well, it does say it's a once per turn action that lets you gather the ball on a 2+ and then ends your turn.
I think that's
so.
Good.
That to me is like
GW.
That's it, done.
Yeah, and I think that's a massive point, because I agree with you, Chris. I think if it didn't end your turn, then it allows every team to have a part of an elf, basically, and
for a turn.
For an act. Exactly. It's just I don't know, it's just that little taster. I'm really, really on the fence with this. And obviously it's been going off in my league chat. And I really cannot decide which way I fall on it, because for a team like Tomb Kings, I absolutely love it, because you want to see those teams that are a bit more out there being played a bit more, and it just gives them that chance to do it a little bit better. And I'm presuming, you can chuck, there'll be the same sort of standard rules with rerolls and everything like that. What I don't like about it is I feel like it's going to lead to much more of the 2-1 grind or 1-1 draw to get the right SPP on the right player, because unless it's the strength 3 and up, and in actual case, I fully support that, and this would probably negate it. But you think about it, I'll use Blorks again. You don't want your goblins to have the SPP. You want it to go on your Black Orcs. On a 2 up, 2+, trundle them down the field. You've got a strength 4 player with it on.
Yeah.
But then taking on what Scott was saying, that if it's only on strength 3 players,
yeah. If that's the stipulation, yeah, fine. I think that would probably sort it out quite nicely.
The reason I say that, Feexy, for that strength 3 is it feels exactly as you said. If it's strength 4 or above, it really.
If Scott's talking, I can't hear him.
It's right, I can hear him. Keep going.
Strength 4 or above, yeah, it's going to imbalance the game too much. And I think, therefore, it's all about the balance, which is why I think it's going to be strength 3. Because, again, as you rightly said, you can put everybody around the cage, you can build up, and then all of a sudden, you just go in and pick it up with whoever you like on a 2+. You could go in with a tree on a 2+, into, why not someone, if that was possible. And I know they said big guys, and Scott, you haven't been listening or paying attention, you're talking shit. I get that. But for me, I think it's going to be a strength 3. However, going back to Tom's, we'll come on shortly to talk about positionals. How will teams be structured? Will you only be allowed 2 positionals? Because if you look at the box initially, and the sort of the number of different sculpts that they've got, it looks like there's going to be 4 guardians for the Tomb Kings. It looks like there's going to be 2, what I'd say, blitzers, 2 catchers, and maybe 1 or 2 throwers for the Bretonians. Interestingly as well, just to shout out Dave Crow in 7, the Tomb King ball model is elite. It's looking very good, Dave. Yes, indeed. But what's my concern out of all this is not whether it's Bretonians, not whether it's Tomb Kings. Will it impact the other teams? Are GW going to listen to what we've been talking about, and you have a starting roster in a box?
Well,
Are they
have
going to
said,
limit
haven't they?
positionals?
Like they've said that within the rule book that comes with it. So this is a good kind of move on to that point. A chunky hardback rule book, including rejigged rosters for every team in the game. So that does suggest that they are possibly going to look at that, and immediately your mind goes to particular teams that could be quite harsh on unless they're going to release new sculpts for them. So, for example, your mind goes to Skaven, who are going to be down 2 gutter runners if it is a case of what is in the box means you can have the roster that you need. Humans with the blitzers, are they then going to change how the human team sets up? Are they going to give the catchers? Are they going to make the catchers strength 3 but then drop 2 blitzers? There's lots of things there that I think are going to could then be a point. You look at teams like Lizardmen, where you get everything you need in the box. Necromantic Horror, you get everything you need in the box. So are they going to bother touching any of those teams that are maybe a bit fresher? Possibly not. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they do and don't change and how they decide to balance it. A few comments in the chat. The box set coming with prone markers, new keywords, all seems like good changes. We've got John in the chat said a new season coming out, lots of positives by the sounds of it, maybe also risks. Can't say I'd be too happy if suddenly a change forced me to repaint teams I've already spent 50 hours on, which I think is fair. You don't want it to, I don't think we'll be in that world, but you never know. We've got Mark in the chat saying, and stat busted players may still have a use instead of canning them with this 2-up rule. I think that's a good shout. If you've got your normal ball handler gets stat busted in some way, and they can still pick up the ball and still be your ball handler, that kind of maybe gives some players some more longevity as well. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good comments. Keep the comments coming in the chat there. What are our thoughts then? Are there any teams that we're particularly worried about? I mentioned a few there. I mentioned Skaven and I mentioned humans. Are there any teams? We've got 3 Skaven coaches on this stream now. Is that the one we're most scared for? What would be the balancing act? Kind of what are we thinking there?
Honestly, I'm kind of a bit more. Almost more scared for goblins because they are already in a position where GW do not put anywhere near the number of toys they put in there, and without a complete remodel of what they get in the box, I feel for me it feels like goblins maybe at the short end of it again.
You say that though, but there is the skill that the change now that they've mentioned that you can get SPP for completions and landing.
It's true. Yeah, that is true.
So they
Actually,
have done a little bit.
That does mean they've got to screw them somewhere else, though.
Yeah.
It has to balance out.
And if they update it, because at the moment you only get SPP on a throw team. The thrower gets SPP on a throw teammate if it is a perfect throw and then a perfect landing.
Ridiculous.
If it is every throw teammate gets a if you throw teammate and the player lands, you get the SPP. That's a big buff to those trolls if you play that kind of game. So I think that could be key. I don't think goblins are going to get any more screwed. I think one of the most difficult things with goblins at the minute is that they've been screwed several times. So you do need, a small library to know what you're doing. I think that's the biggest problem they've got right now. They are no longer, if you want to pick them up and just have fun, there's always been a lot to remember, but now there's so much to remember and you don't even know where to look. So weirdly, I think I think you're exactly right. If goblins gained more SPP on a land, if the goblin who lands got SPP on a land, and the troll who throws gets it on a imperfect throw, but the goblin lands, as long as it's not a fumble. If you have those two, and then you have goblins information all in one place, and it's not, I think actually that is a bit of a win for goblins because that makes them a little bit easier to pick up. So it's not undoing the pain that they've had, but I think it does make them more appealing.
The other nice thing I like is the fact that from where I'm reading is that all the existing teams are going to be there from the start. So
yes,
they're not, because they've mentioned where they're talking about this distracted. So that this one of these new kind of status markers, which is distracted, is now a catch-all term for players who have been standing but have lost their tackle zones, including bone-headed ogres or players hypnotized by vampires. So that to me means that obviously vampires are going to be there from the start, which they're one of the latest additions. So I'm assuming that everyone else is going to be there.
Tom, you are the ultimate segue king, because it is a perfect way for us to now talk about this lovely ball token. What do we think, Scott? What do we think of the ball token? Because what I love is the way that they keep referring to it as somewhat of an innovation. There's a few things that they keep referring to as innovations that we've all been doing for quite a long time, which I do find quite entertaining. What do you think of it?
Nah. I'm not going to run out and buy 20 balls. Now, I suspect GW will introduce balls, specific balls for specific teams. They'd be stupid not to, because there's if you charge, even charge it £8 for the official GW ball. Most people with a 3D printer already there, other branded metal type ball type thing will be better. Yes, it's about time, because does anybody use the little balls? Have people got more little balls in their bits box than anything? some people have. So okay, they've made that nod and that where the throw teammate, the thrown player little disc. Yeah, okay, it's all right. Some of the others in terms of rooted, a lot of people have a rooted band or that they're fully available already on the market. Blitz, yeah, don't need that. Tom Feast, yeah, you can make rude jokes if you want, Tom. It's just then
We're
Chris will
live.
kick.
We're live.
Yeah, I know, and Chris
I-
will kick us off.
I know. I just have to hold myself back, and you keep talking about little balls in your box.
Do you know
I
what's
know. And
do you know
what?
what's
I'm looking
really
at
do you
you
know
when
what's
I'm
really
saying
good,
it.
guys?
We
Do you
all
know what's really good for a podcast
Go on then.
is jokes over private text chats that that
Really
absolutely
interactive.
don't land to the person listening. Like there's nothing better than feeling engaged by your local podcast and feeling out of the joke.
You weren't supposed to read it out, Scott. That's the thing.
Why? Just a quick one on that. I don't know. Someone makes a comment in chat about cards. I don't know. I just hope this doesn't promote more bloody doom bands, because suddenly people will go, "There's a blue one for block." Again, if someone decides to change the whole color scheme, oh, I might now have one for blue for distracted. Come on, guys, have it clear, simple to read. If you're going to be block, show block, whether it's blue, green, yellow, just make sure it's there as easily visible to the opposition coach. Dodgy snack sounds interesting in terms of a kickoff event. Do you eat a dodgy pie and have to rush off to the ablutions? Or I don't know. That could be very funny. Prone is prone. Chomped, it'll be interesting to see what they do with monstrous mouth. Stunned is stunned. Yeah, that's fine and dandy. The stunned and prone
Eye-gouged is a good one. Eye-gouged is an interesting one to remove assists.
Yeah, so that's the new defensive then. I was hoping
Is that going to be like a roll of a dice or something?
I'm guessing it would be the principle of you roll a dice to see if you can poke them in the eye and distract them, basically.
But is that and then 1 turn per turn activation,
on like a 2
and
or
therefore
on a 4 or 5.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think there are some good things. I think there's going to be a lot of people watching this who may be overly concerned and reading into things that aren't there. I think there's some nice stuff as well, but what do you guys think about any of those new tokens? Anything you haven't seen? Anything you have seen?
Well, yeah. Question to the group: are you actually going to bother with the prone and stunned, or are you going to continue putting them face down and face up?
I will use the prone and stunned. I think because I think it's like they make reference to the fact that it can be really unclear. If you're humans or you're Norse and you're there and your positionals are nice and easy to turn one way or another, then it's fine. But lizard men as a prime example are so difficult to balance face up or face down. I put base facing me if I can pick them up, base facing you if I can't. We all come up with our kind of own ways to do it. I think for big guys, I will use that prone and stunned because it is just going to be so much easier because there's just not the space on the board for some of those big figures.
It'll definitely need to be something that's put into a tournament rules, because again, I think that would be a very good thing to have in tournaments to stipulate everyone must use prone and stunned kind of status markers rather than
that's an interesting point, because what I think they haven't done, and what there is nothing in this announcement, there's nothing which is taking away some of the stuff that people have kind of come up with themselves. They're kind of adding, but they're not taking away kind of too much. And I think they've maybe deliberately not done things that have been like, you therefore have to do it this way. It's kind of, we give you another option, because I would be I don't know, I think something as simple as a prone and stunned, would I be a bit put off if my opponent was like, well, that player is I'm going to assume that player is stunned because you didn't put the prone marker there, or so, I don't know. It's a tricky balance with telling you exactly what to do and still allowing coaches and tournaments and things to kind of have their say.
Yeah, I think with all of these, it's the same thing that comes across the whole time. If it's clear and obvious to both parties, then it's absolutely fine. But what that means to each person is going to be very difficult, very, very different. Looking at these tokens, I love the ball token. I think it looks really neat. I think GW are probably about 5 or 6 years too late at least with it. They're just a bit too late. The little tokens, I'm not a fan. I just think they're going to look messy. I've started using when mine have been
When you say the little tokens, which ones do you mean?
the rooted, eye gouge, chomp, blitz prone, dodgy snack, distracted.
Because they look to me like at some point we'll see a lovely demonstration of them clipping nicely onto that ball token.
There is a little bit. There's on that ball token. There's 2 Blood Bowl sections. There's a little divot for the ball, and then there's it looks like like you say, either magnetic or a little divot there for the actual.
I think it's for those guys. Oh, the cat's back. One of the things, though, however, it does just read there as well. It says status markers come in a fetching shade of metallic grey. That'll be interesting if they are making them metal.
Hey, well, I think for me, like I said, they look really nice. I think the design is brilliant. What I'm imagining is, say you've got a tree that's taken root, but is in a scrum of players. Suddenly, you've got the token that's in there, and you've got a couple of a big guy next to him, a couple other people next to him, and everyone's got those little tokens. You suddenly go, "Well, what the hell's that?"
Yeah,
and it's they're very easy to get lost. And I know there are some other companies that have done similar, and I've played against people who have used them, and it does come to a point of like, oh, actually, in what is that one again? What I've started doing with mine is using the stunned and prone tokens that you printed off for me a while ago, Tom. When they're stunned, they're up. When they're down, they're prone. If they're stunned, they've got a token underneath them.
Yeah, there's been people in the chat saying actually like the Charlie Victor prone and stunned bands might be a better way, because literally you can just drop them on top of the player and then take them off, can't you?
Yeah.
I think GW have definitely missed out on that one. Generally, I think they're going to be a bit. Some people they're going to be Marmite, aren't they? Some people are going to like them, some people are not. I think the key thing, though, whatever you use, make sure it's visible for your opponent, and you both discuss and understand how you're going to play. And talking of that, Christopher, like a segue in terms of how you're going to play, they say in here, they rightly say, I don't know if you want to talk about any of the other skills or kickoff event. The new season will be released later in the year alongside the 2 spike journals. So it sounds like they're going to be in the spikes at the same time. New boards, dice, and cards. Be interesting if they've got some new dice, because we all like a nice. And your gentlemen, am I back? Am I not? Am I gone?
No, I think you're here. No, you're not. You're not on the. You're not coming out of the. You're not coming out of the stream audio mixer. But if you ask your question, then I can relay it. TOs, timings, Davitational.
This is wonderful work.
Are you hearing any of this?
What I think Scott is asking is about timings of when this rule set's coming out and how that is going to kind of impact tournaments and things that are on the horizon. Is that about right, Scott? That's right. Good. Cool. In the meantime, I'm gonna do some things to get you back into the chat. I think so. It's interesting because it wasn't long before for our local league, I immediately made sure I clarified the fact that we would not be picking up this rule set until the season was over. So I think every TO out there is going to be in that same boat. They're going to be like, when do we pick this up? When do we start doing this? When do we adopt these rules? I think most people are pretty sensible. I think it's the same with any errata. I don't imagine any season out there is going to kind of suddenly cut ties. And I do wonder, I would be surprised if we saw a tournament this year, depending on release date, that adopted the new rule set, because it's not just a case of, the rule set comes out tomorrow and you running a tournament on Friday, so you swap to it. You don't give any of your players coming to that tournament enough time to get used to this rule set. So everyone's going to need some time to get used to it and get accustomed to the new rules. And so, 100%, we're talking about Malta 2027. That's going to be in the new rule set. There's plenty of time. I think most tournaments we're going to go to next year are probably going to be in the new rule set. But for now, it's I think we're all gonna. It's going to be difficult because we're all going to see these little things come in, and you're going to be sat in a game, and you're going to go, God, I wish I could just pick that ball up on a 2.
Yeah.
So we're all going to kind of have to play ignorant, I think, for a while.
Absolutely, and I think that's a very, very timely question that Scott, through Chris, has raised. My next league season is due to kick off in a week and a half, and this has come out today, and everyone's suddenly going, oh, so when this actually drops, we will be about a third of the way into the season.
But how long do you think you'll need then to kind of get used to it? Because I think even like a third of the way through the season, I think the tricky thing, because they've talked about revamping all teams, because we were talking about redrafts. We have lots of people redraft in our league. And if they're revamping the teams, if suddenly you can only have 2 gutter runners, if suddenly whatever it is, redrafting from season 2 to season 3, I think it's just going to be impossible for the majority of teams to do it in a fair way, because if they change, if they change teams in a way that suddenly there's only 2 gutter runners, all those Skaven coaches can pick their best 2 and bring them over, job done, nice and easy, but maybe the skills that, if they're bringing over a strength 2 gutter runner and suddenly gutter runners a strength 3, you can't bring over that player with those skills and just stick them on a strength 3 player. That would be madness. Yeah. So, it's going to be a weird judgment call for anyone in charge of an event.
To pick up on Tom's point, his league are potentially losing out on vital hours of play on the new rules and the new setup of the teams is maybe, but that would be my concern on that side of things.
Yeah, exactly. We've got quite a few coaches who do play at quite a high level as well, and I think for them it would mean quite a lot to get that extra bit of practice in and just be that few months further ahead than potentially someone, or at the same track. I think what's hard with it, and our admin chat has been kicking off about what to do with it, and I'm not going to say what we are going to do because it hasn't been announced yet. But there is literally no right answer, and I think I do feel sorry particularly for tournament organisers, for anyone that is going to be in this stage, sort of late this year, early next year, of nothing you do at that point is going to be right with everyone.
Such a positive outlook for it. Tom,
I know. It's a really sour no, isn't it? But I think there is maybe something there. Just be like, people spend a lot of time doing these, and they want to do the best for you. But when something like this is dropped, and we knew it was coming, we just never knew when. Just cut them a bit of a slack.
But I think actually what they have said several times in the announcement is it's going to be very familiar. It's going to you're going to pick up. I think anyone who currently plays Blood Bowl is going to pick up the game and they're going to know how to play. There's going to be I don't think the changes are going to be, they've made it clear the changes aren't going to be absolutely huge, and it's going to be, we're all going to know what we're doing roughly. I learned to play the current series of Blood Bowl on Blood Bowl 2, which is which is much different because stats are all different and things like that. I think realistically it's going to be more similar to playing humans and then wanting to play nobility than it is playing one game and then playing another. So I think everyone should try and stay, no matter where your league or tournament is and what rule set it is, I think everyone should try and stay as positive as possible. That just by continuing to play Blood Bowl, you're still going to be playing the same game. We're still playing the same game. You're just going to be playing maybe a cleaner, more streamlined version of the game when you get to it.
Yeah, I agree on that point, and to kind of, I know there's this worry of this. Oh my goodness, there's going to be a 2-gutter runner build, but it could also be the case that those teams don't actually get changed that much, but the other teams get a chance to move further up. So you get, more people playing stunties, or like the halflings or the gnomes or something like that. They get special. With, like I say, with this throw teammate, you think of gnomes and halfling teams suddenly getting SPP on a few players. Plus, if they got, say, like the halflings got wrestle as well, or something along those lines, just to boost them up a bit, so that in league as well as in tournaments, you get more of a variety of different teams that you're playing against.
A couple of people in chat are talking about next season, because our next season will be on the new rule set, are talking about that then being a level playing field, because some of these insane teams that have redrafted a lot or look really good, if no one could redraft, everyone starts afresh, and that is very big for new players coming in.
Definitely. One of the things my last piece, playing a bit devil's advocate again, my heart says I'm really super pleased it's out. I really want this to be good. The sculpts look great. It's going to give coaches the opportunity to do something really good, and 2 new teams is an absolute bonus. My only concern, if you read what GW say in the little intro, it brings 2 new teams, great, smart rules update, roster changes that will shake up team selections across the board. It will shake up the meta, and also it calls it, this is the definitive edition of the game. GW have a track record of technically ballsing things up. I've kept it polite, but we look at what happened when they went from 9th to 10th edition of 40k, which is their blue ribboned gaming structure as well. They had a few issues in terms of finding their feet with AOS as well. So I just don't want them to mess it up too much, but I have got confidence that hopefully the people, if it is the Blood Bowl fanatics and the people who love the game, it's going to be about the environment, the community, what makes it fun, not just about chasing the meta. That's me.
There's also, no one is forced to play 3rd season. We're all very excited by it, but if for whatever reason something about the change isn't to your liking, there are people out there who will play 1st edition, and that's fine. It's like D&D. Play 5th edition. Play 3.5. Play whatever you want. Play what's fun, and remember that point. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be really good. I'm quite excited by it. Just a few last bits in the chat before we move on. Phil's in the chat saying 1st class ticket for the hype train. Looking forward to diving into the whole new edition honeymoon period, shaking up the meta and trying new things. Dave is saying early on new editions with GW have seen some wild win rates and some broken things. A different Dave is saying, I think anything that GW puts out needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. Changes will be made in their favor, not ours, and they will milk us with this game as best they can. I hadn't read that whole thing before I read it out. So thanks.
What an image to end on.
I think it's going to be so great. We're going to bring you as much information about the new series as we can as we move on. We'll, as soon as more information comes out, we will bring you some thoughts on it. Like I said, we're not bringing you anything new. We don't have ins with anyone. We have no new information. But yeah, I think it's a really exciting new season that we've got heading our way. If you have enjoyed listening to this bonus episode, if you want to listen to more episodes, or you want to get in touch and tell us anything about what we do and how bad we are or how good we are or everything in between, tell us your opinions on this new season. Scott, how do people get in touch?
Christopher, people who want to get in touch, chat. If you want to find out sort of some of the proper Feeksy level of innuendos and, euphemistic gags, drop us a note, usual place, newdiceplease@gmail.com. So again, newdiceplease@gmail.com. And Mr. Hovell, if people want to see more Blood Bowl, whether it's version 1, 2, 3, 4, or even something you make up on your own, where can they watch more hot Blood Bowl action?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can get us on YouTube under Blood Bowl Live. You can also interact with us on the socials, on Instagram and Blue Sky under New Dice Please.
Tom Feeks, we are live, and I cannot beep you. I cannot edit this out.
The power is yours.
So just for my own sanity, what is your word of the day?
I'll scroll down my list. No, it's not too bad. Asapanic.
And what does it mean?
It's another name for a flying squirrel.
Love it. How wholesome. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everyone who has joined us live today. We have been New Dice Please, and we will see you next time.